Hello? Yes, my name is Pink Mushroom and I'm thinking about getting an exorcism done on my house. Yes, it's a 3-story house and it's just me and my parents. What kind of incidents? Okay, where do I start? First, a rotom got into my house through my television and stuck me into the underworld for about 8 months. Yeah, that was not fun. Second, a jinx got into my house on Christmas Eve and threw a Pokeball at my face. That, kind of ruined the holiday. Then a pack of Lucario got into a fight in my backyard, broke my window, killed my hat, and that was not fun either because then I had to bury said hat. Then finally, a ghastly stowed away in my room for Mew knows how long and tortured me physically and mentally. It was not a good Halloween season. Don't laugh! It really happened and it really freaked me out! You don't think I tried using repels? Okay, you know what? Just give me an estimate on how much it would be. $500? I could go out and buy max repels for that much. Okay, you know what? Thank you, but no thank you. I cannot afford that. So I'll just figure something out myself, okay? Bye. God dang inflation. I have better luck studying myself and learning how to keep them away. But all this research, this just takes up too much time. I mean, all this, it's almost overwhelming. And now I can honestly see why there are so many Pokemon professors in the Pokemon universe. I mean, there's a lot of ground to study. Most of them seem to stick to a specific trait to study about Pokemon, but which one of these professors stick out more than the others? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to Pokemon Pink version. I'm Pink Mushroom, and today we are going to talk about the top 10 Pokemon professors. Number 10. Professor Takeo Cosmo. Now, most of you probably do not remember Professor Cosmo, which is understandable. He had a very small role in Generation 3. Basically, he's an astrologist from Falbur Town. He gets kidnapped by either Team Aqua or Team Magma and taken to Meteor Falls. Your job is to save his sorry butt and chase them baddies away. Yeah, I know, there's not a lot going on there, but I'm actually leaning more towards his rendition in Oris. A lot of the characters are more expressive in Oris. While Cosmo looks like a normal professor or scientist trainer, you kind of feel for him. Poor dude was tricked by criminals who made him believe they were interested in his work, only to kidnap him and steal the meteorite he was studying. That is messed up, man. He also kind of gets this neat little backstory that slowly leads into his trade. In the old C. Mauville research facility, you'll find old letters he wrote to his father, who was a researcher at the time. And it's actually kind of sad the way you can slowly see the Cosmo family falling apart due to the father's time-consuming work. His father also gave him a Shelgon who, get this, Cosmo trades for a Soul Rock because Salamence, in his opinion, was a letdown. Yes! Yes, Cosmo! F Salamence and his ugly frickin' design! Sorry, Salamence fans. Sorry. Oh, and a special shout out for the fact that he has a really cool looking lab in his house in Oris, which contains a Deoxys meteorite. All in all, Cosmo's a pretty cool professor who's dedicated to his trade and got a great makeover for the remakes. Number 9. Dr. Fennell. When I first played through Pokemon Black and White, I really did not like it. There was something different about it that I did not care for, and it didn't take me until I played through it maybe 2 or 3 more times to really appreciate the features and the characters and developments and things they try to talk about. And one of those new features and issues were dreams. Pokemon dreams to be exact, and a new field of study is born. That's where Fennell comes in. Fennell is a Pokemon professor residing in Straighten City who studies Pokemon trainers and Pokemon dreams. Other than the fact that she's old unifriends with the main region's Pokemon Professor, she holds her own very well. Besides giving you the Sea Gear and HMO1, great necessities, she is the guide to the Pokemon Dream World. Look at this crazy contraption in her lab. Looks like a torture device. Actually, it's just her dream studies. You can access this dream world with your Sea Gear. See? It all connects. I really like Fennell's character because she always seems so excited and almost fangirlish over her own work. I mean, just look at her official art. Does that look like a professional to you? But it's actually kind of fun to see a professor like this. It makes them more relatable and likable. So there's Fennell, Pokemon trainer expert, Pokemon dream expert, and Pokemon fangirl. Number 8. Professor Birch. So what do you think about when you think of a Pokemon professor? You think of it like this lab coat wearing, vitamin D deprived dude doing like science inside of a laboratory, right? I mean, most of them are like that. That's why they get the children to go out and do their dirty work and explore like the outside and research stuff. That is, except for Professor Birch. Birch is the main Pokemon professor in the Hoenn region. He resides in Little Root Town along with the player character. You first meet up with him when you're leaving Little Root, being attacked by a wild Poochyena. This is where you choose your main starter to help him out. But isn't that funky? You always see all these professors who are solely cooped up in their lab doing science. But Birch specializes in Pokemon habitats, which requires him to go out into the field and actually get his hands dirty. It actually makes me wonder why he needs to send out the kids in the first place if he already seems like a perfectly fine adventurer. Well, maybe not too good of an adventurer. He also published 6 books based on his studies, which is proof this guy ain't messing around. Birch is a perfect example of what every Pokemon researcher should be. A scientist, not afraid to go outside and get dirty. Number 7. Cedric Juniper. So what do you think most people do after retirement? You can go on vacation, you relax. Or if you really enjoyed your job to begin with, maybe you would just continue to do it. Professor Cedric Juniper, I can only guess, was the Unova region's old professor before his daughter eventually took over for him. But this guy just isn't hanging around. He helps the player character and his daughter whenever he can. His main study consists of Pokemon distribution from different regions, which is why he's the one to update your Pokedex. I particularly like his distribution studies. This doesn't get a mention by many professors. I mean, most of them just tell you, like, make sure you trade with your friends so you can get all the Pokemons, with little to no explanation onto how to do that. So the fact that he's the one who updates your Pokedex to National Mode, as well as to be the person who checks to see how your Pokedex is coming, makes more sense in his field of study. So here's to Cedric Juniper. Even after retirement, you can't help but love Pokemon. Number 6. Professor Augustine Sycamore. I can already tell you what the professor of the Kalos region would be researching. It's Mega Evolution, because it's new, and everybody wants to know what the crap it is. So, alright, who is this new professor that we're gonna talk about? Only a hot Professor Sexy. Stop objectifying. Professor Augustine Sycamore, the saucy French-like Pokemon professor of the Kalos region. Like I said before, his main study is Mega Evolution, which isn't surprising. They've all pushed Mega Evolution so much before the games came out, they might as well went all out with the concept. It's a strange new evolution process, so you might as well try to figure out what exactly it is. What is Mega Evolution? It's a mutation, that's what it is, but I digress. He's also the first Pokemon professor to actually have a Pokemon battle with you. I know, it just comes out of nowhere, but I thought it was a pretty cool feature, and I'm not talking about unused data either. Sycamore has a really lighthearted feel to him, which makes him very likable, but can also be his downfall. You gonna tell me that this Saiyan-looking mofo don't look like a supervillain? How could you not tell, man? Aw, but who could stay mad at the Prince of Baguettes? Not this trainer. Come on, man, let's go split a croissant. Continue with your endless Pokemon research, Professor Sycamore. And stay sexy. That was the last one, I swear. Number 5. Bugsy. So being a Pokemon professor should take up a lot of your time. It's a very time-consuming job. Most people would think that. Then again, there are some other professors who find time to have other titles. Other very important titles at that fact. Meet Bugsy, the bug-type gym leader from Azalea Town, and bug-type scientist as well. Yeah, it's a weird combination, huh? And this guy's just a kid, like, I think he's like 12. How is he able to do all this? Bugsy's knowledge on bug Pokemon pretty much makes him an authority on them. So much so that people call him the walking bug encyclopedia. It's a long title, dude. Oh, and did I mention he discovered the move Fury Cutter? How? Like how? TMs aren't very well explained, honestly. When challenged, he immediately claims that he never loses when it comes to bug Pokemon. However, when he does lose, he says his research isn't finished yet, which is believable. Trying to be a researcher and a great trainer, you're bound to get a little tripped up along the way. I respect you, Bugsy, because I can't multitask for crap. Number 4. Professor Juniper. No lead-in. It's Professor Juniper from Unova. She's boss! Yes, right off the bat, I have to mention that she's the first female professor we got in the core series. And like it or not, I have to remind everybody that representation does in fact matter. I was so happy to finally see a female Pokemon professor. Almost as happy as when I saw Cynthia in Generation 4 as the Pokemon champion. And who'd have thought we'd get Fennell in the same game? They're my hoes! So Juniper specializes in studying the origins of Pokemon, which I think might have been better suited for Generation 4, but I guess I'll let it pass. She comes off as very kind and caring, but remains very professional about her work. Also, she's the only Pokemon professor I felt helped out most, especially at the beginning of the game. Meeting you in the next towns, telling you about the unaddressed PC, and even introducing you to people who can help you. The fact that she seems some years younger than the rest of the Pokemon professors and that she's already taken over for her father speaks for itself. So that is Juniper. Beauty, brains, determination, and most of all, mentor. Number 3. Colress. Alright guys, remember a few years back when I called N from Black and White a creepy disappointment? Well, I kinda sorta might want to take that back. The disappointment part, not the creepy part. Still creepy. Again, playing through Black and White a couple times actually really made me appreciate N's character and development, even with the addition of the not-so-great sequels. But I still thought N was going to be like this sophisticated senpai-like villain, not the derpy hippie kind who turns good in the end. But that role went instead to Colress in Black and White 2. Look at this man, he means business. Look at that hair. Is he here to study Pokemon strings or play a children's card game? Because that is some card game anime hair. Colress, in my opinion, is almost like this great chaotic neutral. He's literally only with Team Plasma because they're funding his work and studies on Pokemon strings. He has nearly no regard to anyone around him, is pretty much only doing this in deeds of science. Even at the end, when you defeat Team Plasma, he just kind of laughs it off and leaves the group thanking you for the data he's collected from his work. He even gives you a Master Ball later. Okay, thanks Colress. In the end, I really like sciencey villains like this, and I'm so glad that we finally got one in the Pokemon universe. Number 2. Professor Rowan. So over the years, we've gotten a lot of carefree professors, like kind to the player, character, and their friends, but still ready to learn about Pokemon. And then every once in a while, we get a Professor Rowan. Rowan is the Pokemon professor of the Sinnoh region. I just look at this manly, stoic presence. Now, I'm not saying he's unkind or any of the sorts, but this guy means serious business. He has a stern personality, which the player character and the rival both mistake for being mean, but he's actually very kind and patient. He also has a sweet tooth, as his fridge is like full of candies and cakes, which is weird. Also, do you notice anything different about him and the other professors? Bam! No lab coat! Yeah, he's the only one who doesn't wear one. This is probably due to the fact that he's actually above everybody else on terms of seniority. This even includes being above Professor Oak. Other cool facts. He gave the Sinnoh champion Cynthia her first Pokemon in Pokedex at the beginning of her training, and mentored Professor Sycamore when he was a boy. This guy has literally been everywhere and probably knows everyone. His main study is Pokemon evolutions and the terms that all Pokemon are connected in some way. And with all the space and godlike deities roaming around Sinnoh, it's easy to come to that conclusion. So here's to Professor Rowan, a top tier professor who's literally full of surprises. And number 1. Professor Samuel Oak. I don't know what you're expecting. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, it's obvious, and with the way the list was going, you were expecting it all along. But I can't help myself, I freaking love Professor Oak. Yeah, and part of it is for nostalgia reasons. He was the first to give me my Pokemon and Pokedex, so that'll always hold a special place in my heart. But he has other games to develop in too, with Generation 2 and 4. In Gold and Silver, you visit the Kanto region, and Oak says he's heard about you from Elm, who he's good friends with. In 4, you're introduced to him by Rowan, who seems to be one of his old colleagues. In both of these games, he's the one who checked your national Pokedex. Almost everyone who mentions his name has nothing but good things to say about him. Not except for Agatha, but they're like childhood BFFs, so maybe that's their thing. No, I don't know why he doesn't know what his grandson's name is, and I can't seem to figure out why, if he used to be this big, huge Pokemon trainer, why he only has 3 level 5 starters left. But really, who cares? It's Oak! Oak's main study is the relationship between Pokemon and humans, which, in my opinion, is probably the most important thing to study in this universe. We have these godlike creatures with unlimited powers living in the same world as us. And it makes perfect sense for us to try to find a good balance to live amongst each other in this perfect harmony. And maybe that's why he sends you and his grandson out on your journeys. Sure, filling up the Pokedex is important as ever, but maybe he wants to study your relationship with a Pokemon that used to be his own. That's why he's nothing but proud of you when you finally become the Pokemon champion. So yeah, I'm not sorry for having him at number 1. I love Professor Oak. And his curious personality, understandable study, and supportiveness has always captured my heart. So thank you, Professor Oak, for getting me started in my own Pokemon journey, but at least in the games. And I have to hand it to all these Pokemon professors. I have nothing but respect for you guys for wanting to study this insane, infinite, crazy field. Because it's a lot, and I would really like to study Pokemon. I really would. But, I mean, seriously. But like I said before, Pokemon researching takes a lot of time, and I'm probably just better off buying repels than learning about all this stuff. Spiro's throwing things at my windows to this pink mushroom. Dear Miss Pink Mushroom, I've recently come in contact with your research on rotoms. While I believe there was more to be studied, I'm very impressed with what you had already researched. I believe that with the proper tools and funding and time, that I would be very happy to have you as a Pokemon researcher for my laboratories. But Miss Mushroom, you have to remember that for this occupation, you need to be curious, you need to be bold, question everything around you and anything that happens. Be cunning, and be observant, but most of all, you need to be brave. If you feel like you can meet these requirements and the job is yours. I have high hopes in you, Miss Pink Mushroom, and I hope you can prove me right. Sincerely yours, Professor Samuel Oak. I can do that.